Hi guys, it's me, Pretzel, Kelly. Hi! I love movies, but there are some movies that I have an opinion on that is generally within the minority of. And having that minority opinion can fall into two categories. One of which is films that I like, but most people or a lot of people don't. And we will get to that in the future. But today we're going to talk about the other side of that coin, which is films that I don't like that a lot of people do like. Alright, let me tell you how I built my list. So, first of all, the basis for this list is first thing I considered is, do I dislike this film? Uh, Second thing is, how does that dislike compare relatively to how people feel about it? So this could be anywhere from general consensus to just cult followings, ardent fans, things like that, right? 10 tends to be 10 is basically as you go up from 10 to 1, the gap between how I feel and then towards the negative and the gap towards the positive, that gap increases. And as we start from 10, that gap is a lot smaller. So movies maybe on the bottom I don't really actively dislike, but I don't like them as much as a lot of people do. But once we get to number, I'd say 4 and up, those are films that I actively hate and I don't like. Another thing is, I'm not taking ticket sales or DVD sales or anything like that into consideration. If that were the case, it would just be Transformers, Avatar, Fast and the Furious, all that kind of stuff, right? And generally, you guys all probably don't know many people that like those films. So, this is more based off of anecdotal evidence, talking to people, reading articles, forums, Reddit, shit like that. First off, I'm going to get some, I don't want to say honorable mentions, but some films that didn't make the list out of the way. Pretty much any comedy. If you guys know me, I'm not a huge fan of comedy films. There's some that I really like. But generally, it's just like I don't really laugh at them, so I don't find them funny, and I don't know. Most comedies, I don't really even give a second thought to. There is one on the list that we'll get to. So this includes stuff like the Zucker Brothers films, stuff like Airplane, Mel Brooks movies, 40-Year-Old Virgin, Pineapple Express, any kind of basically any stoner comedy, things like that. I just don't care. That's the biggest. That's the worst thing I can say about them is I just don't care. Some other things I'm not going to include on the list are franchise movies. So stuff from like Marvel, I just don't care. Lord of the Rings is more or less well done, but I don't care about Lord of the Rings. So I don't really have a strong opinion either way on it. Same with Star Wars. I don't really care. I'm not invested in Star Wars, so I don't really care if one's bad and one's good, really. Um, there are two that almost made the list, and I kind of bumped them off. One of them is Kill Bill, and the reason why is because I loved that movie when it came out, and every subsequent watch that I've had of the film, I've liked it less and less. But I still guess I still think I like it. I don't really know, so I didn't want to put it on the list if I couldn't really say why I didn't like it. And then the other one is Moulin Rouge. Um, I don't hate musicals. I just don't like that one. But I don't think people really care about Moulin Rouge anymore. It's not like it was like 8 or 10 years ago. Uh, I think people have pretty much forgotten about it. Much in the way people forgot about Chicago and stuff. So I guess that's it. We're gonna move on to the real ones with the number 10.
It's called Inception. Already.
Yes, I'm not a big fan of Inception. So I did a little mini tirade on this on my last Pretzel Picks video, but I am not a big fan of Inception, and a lot of the reason why is, in that video I said that it had a lot to do with Ellen Page's character, but it's not really Ellen Page's character. It's that Ellen Page's character being basically just a device for everything to be explained to, and that being a conduit for us as an audience so that we can have things explained to us, that's just not entertaining to me. And that's what most of the film is. Like, just go back and watch it, and it's just explaining crap. Explaining. Now, all that being said, there is a lot in the film that I do like. The practical effects are great. Kind of the imagination used is good. The acting performances are good, but I just don't enjoy watching it. I just don't like sitting through. People complain about like a lot of movies that tend to be dialogue heavy or something like that, right? But the dialogue in this isn't even interesting, in my opinion. It's one of those things like once you know the technology and you understand the concept, like, and it's not a hard concept. It's going into people's dreams to influence their awake behaviors. There you go. I explained it, you know? But they make it so convoluted and so technical. It's like watching an industry film on how to invade dreams, like for probably like at least a quarter of the film. And like I said, that being said, a lot of it I do like. I don't think that it's that great of a movie. It feels sloppy in a lot of ways. And I haven't seen it yet, but I think I've heard that Tenet is even worse when it comes to stuff like that. I'm not sure though. Christopher Nolan in general, I don't mind. I'm not a huge fan of any of his films really, even except Insomnia. Insomnia was good. But like Dark Knight, his Batman movies were okay. Um, they were fine. You know, I don't think they're masterpieces or anything like that. And I definitely don't think Inception is a masterpiece at all.
Mr. Cobb has a job offer he would like to discuss with you.
Like a work placement?
All right. Let's get controversial with number 9.
I'm not gonna hurt you. I'm just gonna bash your brains. Here's Johnny.
Let me start by saying I don't hate The Shining. It's okay. In fact, actually, no, I'm going to say it's better than okay. It's pretty good. It's just that it's not the end-all be-all of horror. It's and it's not because it's older, because there's older horror movies that are still creepy or, you know, can be scary or unsettling and stuff. Honestly, I think it's the ending. It's the last 10 or 15 minutes of the film. Because when you watch it for the first time, and if you don't know anything about it, you can chalk up a lot of this, of what's going on here, to just isolationism, to cabin fever, to Shelley and Jack's failing marriage, or like their problems that they're having together, Jack's alcoholism, his inability to be a writer, his frustrations with that, a child's active imagination, all of this other stuff, right? And I get that the story is actually about ghosts and bullshit like that, right? But the ending just undermines all of that. It's like, it basically takes the rest of the movie, you could take it as like, it could be this, it could be that. Is it really ghosts? Is it really not? And then at the end, it's, you know, first of all, the ending's ridiculous. And I'm not, like I said, I'm not going off of the source material. I don't care. I've never read the book. I'm going based off of, you showed me this movie, I know nothing about it beforehand, and then I get done watching it, this is what I'm thinking. And the ending where Jack gets frozen in the hedge maze, it's just silly. It's just silly. And the ambiguous ending in this doesn't work, in my opinion. The ambiguous ending where the picture of Jack, but like at a New Year's Eve party, but was it really him? Was it not? Does that mean he was a ghost or whatnot? And I'm not saying that like ambiguous endings are bad. It just doesn't serve anything in this film. it's like that doesn't like leave you with a question of like, oh, well then what did all of this mean? No, it didn't. It's just like, okay, maybe he was a ghost, I guess. So it's shot beautifully. It's Stanley Kubrick. What can you say? It's just I don't hold it in as high a regard as what a lot of people do. That's pretty much what it comes down to.
Mom, do you really want to go and live in that hotel for the winter?
Sure I do. It'll be lots of fun.
The only thing that can get a bit trying up here during the winter is the tremendous sense of isolation.
All right. Number 8.
Hello, my name's Forrest Gump. Would you like a chocolate?
Oh, thank you.
I just don't like it. Tom Hanks is fine in it. Acting is fine. Acting, no problem. It's just that it's such a contrived story. And it's just just like this whole thing of like all these amazing things or all of these crazy things happen to this person who's so pure of heart and so innocent, and oh, he's just there and he's like an impetus for all this change in the world. I don't care. I don't care. There's my review. All right. I came back. I decided to actually talk about maybe why I don't like it. So, it is basically, it feels like just a montage of historic moments, and we're following this person through it. The person themselves, I don't think is very interesting. I don't think Forrest Gump is very interesting. It's a person that doesn't have a very interesting character, but with many other interesting characters around him. And the other characters are so much more interesting, and I'd rather learn and experience them and what they've experienced. It's one of those things. It's like, I'd rather take a slice of this film and just expand that slice out than have all of it. Like, I don't want all of it. I just want one bit. Give me Gary Sinise's story. I just want his story, you know? And it's just, I watched it one time. I tried watching it a second time. I turned it off. And I'm talking like I watched it when it came out way back then. And I've tried watching it recently, and it's saccharine. And I know that like, it's not as bad as some other kind of feel-good movies, but like, I just don't like it. I don't care. I just don't care.
Run, Forrest! Hey, stupid, run!
Now, you wouldn't believe it if I told you, but I can run like the wind blows.
Who in the hell is that?
That there's Forrest Gump, Coach. Just a local idiot.
Some of you are not going to like number 7.
Prepare to die.
Never go in against the Sicilian when death is on the line.
I don't like The Princess Bride. This I chalk up to not seeing it until I was an adult. I never saw it as a kid. I didn't grow up with it. I have no attachment to it whatsoever. So I watched it probably 4 or 5 years ago for the first time. And I get it. It's a fairy tale. What else have you got for me? It's like, the characters are fine. It's hard to criticize a lot of it, because if you're containing it within the context of a fairy tale, then it's hard to talk about like, oh, the characters are kind of predictable and one-dimensional. Well, yeah, it's a fairy tale. Oh, it's kind of a, it's an easy story arc. You know what I mean? Yes, but that's it. But that's because it's a fairy tale. And I guess the whimsy and the magic of it and stuff, it doesn't resonate with me. I don't know. It's more than anything, I was just kind of bored watching it. And I didn't really care about any of the characters and what was happening to them. I don't know. Like I like Neverending Story, but like I don't like this. So I guess I don't know if it's hard to explain. I guess because like I said, you can just chalk a lot of it up to, well, it's a fairy tale, and so. But like I don't, all the characters more than anything were annoying. I didn't like any of them really. The whole, this movie, it's the fairy tale version of Monty Python and the Holy Grail. It's just, people just remember it because it has things they can quote more often than not. And that's basically it. And I just don't, I don't know. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't think it's very entertaining. It drags more often than not, I felt like. And like I said, I didn't find any of the characters entertaining in it.
I've seen worse.
Bye-bye, boy.
Have fun storming the castle.
It's more than turning.
What's the difference? We've got him.
Think it'll work?
It would take a miracle.
Goodbye.
All right, so I kind of tackled some ones that a lot of people really like and they kind of have warm and fuzzies for. I'm sorry. So let me tackle one that film snobs really like, and I don't.
How'd I get down here?
You're acting aggressive because you drank too much alcohol.
What do you do?
I am a writer, a doctor, a nuclear physicist, a theoretical philosopher. But above all, I am a man, just like you.
Some of you might not have even heard of this film, or if you did, you didn't watch it, or some variation of that. So let me give you a little breakdown of it. This is by P.T. Anderson, the guy that did Magnolia. He also did There Will Be Blood. He also did, more recently, Inherent Vice, which is also controversial amongst people a little bit. But yes, so he did this. It's Philip Seymour Hoffman basically playing L. Ron Hubbard. And Joaquin Phoenix is in this as well. And Amy Adams. So here's the thing. It's one of the best acting performances from Philip Seymour Hoffman and Joaquin Phoenix I've seen. They're both great in it. They're both phenomenal. There's just no story. It's basically just like, and it's not like, I've talked about like how I don't need a story per se in order to enjoy a film, and that's 100% true. But this film is really relying a lot on, it's obvious that it's an L. Ron Hubbard analog that Philip Seymour Hoffman is, right? And that Joaquin Phoenix is this post-war disturbed person, mental fringe kind of person trying to integrate into everyday life. He can't do it, so he falls into this basically a cult, and he starts to fit in more there, and they kind of feed off of each other, etc., right? The film acts like it's building to something, but it never does. The film just kind of peters off. And there's conflict that arises specifically between Philip Seymour Hoffman and Joaquin Phoenix, and Philip Seymour Hoffman and his wife. But it's not as good as a lot of, especially film snobs. A lot of people are going back. If you look at like top 10 lists or whatever of like 21st century or like the past 10, 20 years, you might see this on there. And it's just not that good, honestly. P.T. Anderson's a great director. Philip Seymour Hoffman's a great actor. Joaquin Phoenix is a great actor, but just like it feels like a film just made specifically to allow them to act. And there's just nothing really to hold on to in the film throughout it, honestly. There's no like major story that's happening. And like I said, I think that it would be different if the film created emotional affects. So if as you were watching the film and you saw these characters interacting and stuff, and events occurred that caused like heightened emotional reactions, and we can, as the audience, can empathize, sympathize, or relate to, or it can be reflected in us, right? And we We get emotional response from it. That never occurred for me in this film. So it became one of these things where it's like, I don't relate to these characters. I understand the analog that's going on, so I kind of want to see what they do with it. And they don't do anything with it, really. So it's one of those films. So it's one of those films that, like, a criticism that, like, I hear about, like, movie elitists and snobs and stuff is that, like, you know, oh, well, it didn't make any sense, so you liked it, or it's, you know, it's boring, therefore you like it. And variations of that, right? Basically, this film doesn't have anything really to offer, or on the whole isn't very good, but you as a critic or as an elitist really like it because it's okay to like it or something like that, right? I think people are going back and trying to rewatch this and try to, like, fit it into this place where it's a great movie but wasn't appreciated as its time, other than for the acting performances. And I just don't think that it's worthy of that, honestly. I think that it's just I got nothing from that film other than, damn, Philip Seymour Hoffman's a good actor. Damn, Joaquin Phoenix is a great actor. Damn, P.T. Anderson sure knows how to work a camera. That's it.
You are an everlasting spirit, Freddy.
I don't believe you. You make this up. I know you're trying to calm me down, but just say something that's true!
Are you thoughtless in your remarks? Do your past failures bother you? Is your life a struggle? Is your behavior erratic? What are you running from?
He's dangerous. And he will be our undoing if we continue to have him here.